Enforcement Board, March 26th, 2025, 6:30 PM. Eulabeth, would you call roll, please?
Yes. Chair Paul Hughes,
Present.
Vice Chair Gerard Sanchez,
Present.
Board Member Deb Moody,
Present.
Board Member Wesley Cook,
Here.
Board Member Miguel Espinoza,
Here.
Board Member Patricia Keogh,
Present.
Board Member Morty Miltz.
Present.
Okay, if you don't mind, we'll stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we will now do a Pledge of Allegiance to, and our newest member, we welcome, Morty Meltz.
That's a good.
If
Do
you-
I need to stand for this?
Yes,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
do.
please stand.
Yeah, Raise your hand.
I'll read it, and if you could repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Mordecai Meltz,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, defend, and protect
the Constitution and government of the United States
the Constitution and the government of the United States
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
that I am qualified to hold office
that I am qualified to hold office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will well and faithfully perform
that I will well and faithfully perform
the duties of Code Enforcement Board Member
the duties of Code Enforcement Board
of the town of Lake Clark Shores, Florida,
of the town of Lake Clark Shores, Florida,
on which I am about to enter.
of which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So I'm done.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You need one to sign. Do you have
I
one?
have one.
And just hand it in at the end.
Sure.
Okay, the chair would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
I second. Wesley, go ahead. Yeah.
Who made the motion?
Deb.
Deb made the motion. Jerry seconded, okay. I'm gonna make sure Eulabeth has
I got it.
all of our information tonight.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
She'll probably show Emily up too. Next item is consent agenda, which includes the approval of the minutes of the February 26th Code Enforcement Board meeting and cases now in compliance. Everyone's had an opportunity to review the minutes, and are there any additions or changes you recommend? No? Cases now in compliance. Eric?
Yes.
I assume there's a lot of them, so just go slow.
No problem, Chairman Hughes and members of the board. Starting on page 1, case 24-0345 is now in full compliance.
Hmm?
Page 2, case 24-0343 is in compliance. However, it still does have a unpaid lien.
Mm-hmm.
Case 25-0046 is in compliance, and
Wait a minute. Where are you?
25.
What page?
Page 2.
Page 2, okay.
25-00446. They are in compliance and need to be reviewed for full dismissal.
Okay.
Page 3. Case 24-0412 is in full compliance. Case 25-0001 is in full compliance. Case 25-0013 is in full compliance. Case 25-0002 is in full compliance. Page 4, I'll make it easy for writing. Every single one of these is in compliance, but I still have to read them off. So case 25-005 is in full compliance. Case 25-0012 is in full compliance. Case 25-0015 is in full compliance. Case 25-0016 is in full compliance. Case 25-0018 is in full compliance. Case 25-0023 is in full compliance. Page 5, starting at the top. Case 25-0043 is not, I'm sorry, is not complied.
Is not,
Yeah, not complied. Give me a second.
So we leave it.
believe it, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. So case 25-0051, which is the third one down, that one is in compliance.
It is?
So 25-0051 is in compliance. Then at the bottom of the page, case 25-0063 is in compliance. Page 6. At the bottom of the page, case 25-0067 is in compliance. And then on page 7, in the middle, case 25-0069 is in compliance.
Okay.
And thank you for bearing with me.
Oh, that's okay.
I understand. It's spring break. I understand.
Okay, so I understand in case 240343 and 0046 on page 2. Okay,
Yeah, Chairman, we do have on page 1, that first case, we do have the resident here. So if you guys want to discuss that one, so the resident can speak.
I thought that one was in compliance.
It is in compliance, but there was a fine that accrued, so it does need to be discussed
Oh, okay.
by the board members.
Okay.
all right, so we'll go ahead and take that one.
Because if you look on your lien list that Yuli gave all of us, you'll see at the bottom, you'll see the fine amount that accrued.
Okay.
So he's really here for.
Yeah.
Okay, so, okay.
Mr. Hyatt, you're up. John, you're up.
One down.
Yep. go ahead.
So the property came into compliance.
The property came into compliance.
Oh, yeah.
today.
We didn't swear the witnesses in, Bill, right?
Yeah, we did. Let me swear you in, sir, and you're going to testify. And also the staff. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you'll give can be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay, so just to review this, Eric,
Yeah, so this.
Mr. and Mrs. Hyatt came into compliance when?
Today,
Today,
yes.
okay.
The building inspector went out there and saw the engineer letter, saw that everything was good, and they closed the case, let Melissa know, then Melissa let me know.
Okay,
Do we have a picture of this from the past or?
This was the one with the animal cages.
The one that he had removed and then he,
Yeah. They have
We
a lot
have
of cats.
pictures now that it's in compliance.
no,
Showing-
Joe didn't give me any photos. But I mean, if he passed it, he's the building official, then everything's fine.
Yeah, the only thing that the property needed left was for an engineer letter. Mr. Hyatt provided the engineer letter to the building official. The building official reviewed it and did a final check of the structure, passed it. So that's why the building department and code enforcement now put it into full compliance.
and could you, one of you maybe summarize why between January 22nd and now, there's this delay of when it was,
Well, he was waiting for an engineer's letter. He had to remove the cages, which was 3 different cages that he removed. And then he was waiting for the engineer's letter, which he got a couple days ago, called in, they gave him a partial, and then today he passed the final. So he removed all this stuff here.
What you're looking at is gone on both sides.
And just, you know, from a code enforcement side, this is the first time I've ever seen this particular case. And for Lake Clark Shores, this is the first time a permit was ever put in for a animal structure like this. So the town did have to do its due diligence in case we see this come again in the future. That way we have kind of a standard set blueprint.
sir, would you like to go ahead and identify yourself for the
Yes,
record,
my
for the
name-
record?
Yes, my name is John L. Hyatt. Hyatt with an I, Hiatt, standard John, JOHN, 6400 Carambola Circle, West Palm Beach, Florida, 33406.
Okay, so,
Mr. Hughes, he's just here for lien reduction.
was the lien actually recorded? I mean, imposed?
Yes,
And when did we do that?
January 22nd.
We imposed a fine,
Right, $200 a day.
not a lien.
No, fine.
Yeah, okay.
Right. So
That's 1 year from the date that this all started? No.
No,
that was
This January.
January. Okay.
3 months.
January.
53 days.
So we're here tonight to decide whether we want to, and the fine is in the amount now of
12,600.
12,600.
but there is no lien that has been
Right.
filed.
Right.
There's no lien.
Just, so that's all gone, and I guess all your animals are inside now? Or,
Some of them, there's not, yeah, some of them are inside. Some of them are gone.
The structure was permitted. You had to remove stuff on the side, but the main structure you're seeing is now permitted and authorized in Lake Clark Shores per an engineer letter.
So as of today, Mr. Hyatt, you have a fine imposed of $12,600. Are you requesting that there be a reduction? Is that what you're here for?
Reduction or dismissal. I mean, that was the one that, when I came and asked about this, you guys didn't have any such thing. And I said, well, can you make me a permit, draw me a permit? I had trouble with my next door neighbor. You guys might know about that, you might not. I'm sure some of you are apprised of it. He lives in the county, he's coming over here, telling me that I don't, telling you guys I don't have a permit for that structure. So I came and asked Melissa, and Melissa said we have no permit for that. We don't care what you do in your backyard. I said, well, make me a permit of some sort. Okay, so we dove into that, how we get the permit proceedings, the engineer's drawings, ad nauseum. And I got a engineer at the corner of Parker and Forest Boulevard. He's one of the best escape and evade people I've ever known, because it took me months to catch up to him. His name is Rizza, and he's from Turkey. And I didn't know till later on that he has a 98-year-old brother, and they families over there take turns going
Okay.
home and looking after him. Well, that was 2 or 3 months catching up to him right there, but I finally got him.
Mr. Hughes, I'm sorry to interrupt.
That's
I
no
think
good.
he acted in good faith with
I hear you.
permit and the engineer's letter, coming in and contacting me every day. So
If I remember correctly, I remember him chasing an engineer and he couldn't get him. He was trying, but I remember that.
I mean, he's a good guy,
I
believe
do
me.
remember him coming and trying to get a permit, even though there was nothing that
There was no
could do
permit.
for him at the moment. He was
So
trying to get a permit for it.
we're inventing one.
how long did it take you to get the engineer to finally give you, is this the same engineer that gave you the drawings, whatever?
Yeah, an engineer's drawing, they called it.
Okay.
It took probably took a couple months. Anyways, I got a long-term friend named Mike Watson. It's a general contractor. In fact, he's done this thing for me here. He knows Rizza fairly well. I had back doors put in my house years ago, storm glass, where I live now. And it was an 18-foot wide door because you had a double door, 2 side lights. And I went to Florida Home Depot and I paid them the money to come out and check it out. And they sent me a letter of refusal back, and they said, well, we don't know anything about this. We've never done a door like this. Well, we need an engineer's drawing. Okay, this is probably 10 years ago. So over to Rizza. Rizza gave me a wind load drawing of inward pressure, outward pressure, upward pressure, downward pressure. Send it back to Home Depot. They send it back to the people that make the doors. And they said, oh yeah, no problem. Next thing you know, here it all shows up on a truck. It's there to this day.
So the question before us tonight.
Yeah, the question was, I'm
whether you
evading.
want to extinguish this fine or reduce it? Are there any recommendations?
I have a question. Mr. Hyatt, how long have you been, John, how long have you been living here?
We moved in 2003.
Wow. You've been a long resident of Lake Clark Shores. Have you had any other issues with the board?
No, he hasn't had any code enforcement violations since
I mean,
been.
And I've got a lot of permits though.
I just like to get a background. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm new to this, so I like to understand who, I just like to understand who's before us, but, I'm also new to this. I mean,
But I've gotten of the breezeway door, I got a permit for the front door. I got a permit for the AC. I've gotten a permit for the little cross fence in the back. I've gotten,
it seems like you're very passionate about the cats. I get that, so.
my wife is, not me.
I've adopted one myself, so I'm gonna let the board go ahead and
Yeah.
finalize this decision.
So you told us that some of the cats have been moved inside. Some of them probably still live in that fenced-in area,
Yeah,
patio,
But they can come and go between that catio, we call it.
the patio. Okay.
Yeah.
So how many cats do you have now?
Oh, I don't know, probably 10, if that.
Okay.
But
And-
we're, anyway, go ahead, about that many. I don't ever count. My wife takes care of that. My wife's, she's had a lot of trouble with the next door neighbor. You guys have all heard about that, I'm sure.
Well, the only thing I'm thinking is that probably the whole reason that this came to us was because of the number of cats there. So I'm
No.
just wondering how many, do you
No,
plan
ma'am.
to get more?
No, ma'am. No. We've already bought property in Bell. Anyways, but I don't want to buy a house. I don't want to sell my house until I've got another place to go, but I don't want to sell my house and then be out there looking for a place to live.
Right.
And I have a flying buddy out there that's an ex-crop duster, and I luckily found a place like a quarter of a mile from him on G Road in Lavelle. So at any rate, and she'll have plenty of room out there to do this. And she can have, a lot of cats if she wants them, but she's getting her fill of them now. She'll be 70. Well, April 16th, she'll be 70. So this is right her last year in her 60s. At any rate, and I'll be 80 in about 3 years or so. So I'd be running thin on that,
So the original date violation was October of 2024. Correct? That's what I have here.
The original date would be when the next door neighbor who's in the county tried to turn me in.
Well,
The date you were noticed.
the date you were noticed, violation date was October 23rd, 24 for this stuff behind your house. And it- from
Took a couple
October-
months.
5
October
months.
till today, about here is 5 months. That we've been working, you've been working on this and we've been working with you for this. I don't know, I guess.
Well, the only issue I've had, the main difficulty is I hate to bang poor old Rizzo, but he's trying to catch him because the next thing you can do to find an engineer that'll do something like that is in Tampa. But anyways, go ahead, Joe.
I got a question, Melissa. Weren't you guys also trying to confirm some information? I believe, I don't know if it was in January meeting or in February. You guys were trying to confirm something because you guys didn't have a code or.
We were trying to figure out if he could even get a permit for this.
Correct. Because we also had to wait for you guys to get some
Yes.
information as
So
well.
there was like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks in there where we had to decide with Joe Kajak, who's our building official, if he could even do this.
I just want to make sure that we all remember right. We know that it took him forever to get the engineer to get him the stuff, but it also took the town some time to see if they could even issue.
The first issue was that we did a transition from hybrid to this.
Correct.
So that was really, yeah, you're saying October 23rd, 2024, but it was a transition to a new building official and then a transition for us to decide if he could even do this.
Correct.
So it's really
On
not,
top of the part that he was also trying to spend a couple months
Correct.
trying to get Mr. Rizza down so he can get him the information.
and he's
but-
been a trooper through the whole thing.
But
so-
he was also at your doorstep the very first day when he got the violation to try to get a permit.
Correct.
And he has permits for other stuff that you've got to hit. So
Oh, yes.
you've always been in good faith.
Oh, no, I bet I've got,
2003, he's been a
Yeah.
complying resident.
everything gets a permit.
Okay.
That's how it
He
works.
seems like, a guy we want to have some good faith with.
I appreciate that.
Do we have any administrative costs at this point?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Devin.
Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 24-0345, I move that this board waives the fine in the amount of $12,600.
I second.
Is there
I'll second.
further discussion among the board members?
I think this gentleman has tried and tried and tried. And some of this isn't his fault. It appears like not a lot of it is. I think there should be some type of restitution to the town. You know, maybe $1,000, something like that. Because we're not all sure where everything landed, you know, and this is 5 days worth of fines.
I just feel that he's gone for other permits in our town where a lot of folks haven't even done it for even the minor stuff that he has put in. I think he has a good history. I don't think he was doing anything out of malice or try to side or try to do something cheaper or do. I think he's shown good faith, and he also believed in a certain engineer who has a good reputation. Took a while to get him, so I'm more lenient that he did everything he could possibly.
You support the motion.
I support the motion.
Is there anyone that would like to amend the motion?
I'll amend it to reduce the fine to $1,000.
Okay. So the motion to amend is to reduce the fine from $12,600 to $1,000. Is there a second to the amendment? Hearing none, the motion fails. We go back to the main motion, which is to waive the $12,600 fine. You ready to vote?
Mhm.
All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, Mr. Hyatt,
Yes, sir.
you know what happened?
Not exactly, but
You're good.
thanks.
Okay, thank you for
It was,
coming.
I was say, getting a permit for you guys for some things is like pulling teeth. I worked on getting that permit.
Well, we're going to try to make it easier for you next time.
Thank
The
you.
grow,
Thank you for coming.
You're all welcome.
thank the panel behind you. They had your back there. That's- No, it seems like you worked really well with them, so. All of them, exactly.
Mr. Hughes.
Okay, we're going to go to
I'm
the
the new fellow up here.
lien imposition hearing now.
I'm on
And
my-
we're going to continue the meeting, move on to number 10, unfinished cases. We'll take 24-0343. Eric, there's no new information on your part, right?
We do have.
Yes, I
for these
yeah, I
two
know.
cases.
Is there anything new on your part at all?
Yes.
Oh, this is for John.
Is this regarding this? Okay.
For case 24-0343, they are in full compliance for the violation. There's still just the open unpaid lien. Like I said, we do have legal representation here, so if they would like to approach the podium and speak on behalf of this case.
And we came into compliance on December 18th of 2024.
That's correct.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Al Rodriguez. Nice to meet you. Oh,
Are you sworn in?
nope. I'm not going to testify.
Yeah, you don't need sworn in.
Oh,
Okay.
I don't plan to testify. Good to see all of you. Thank you.
Okay. So this is a lien imposition hearing, and in case 24-0343, the outstanding lien as of now is $12,000.
12,000 for one and 16,500 for the other.
Yeah, we're going to take them separately.
Okay.
That's okay. So comments, questions? We have to determine whether we're going to impose the lien on this.
should we
Case,
hear-
we're
should
gonna-
we hear from the-
Yeah, but we're going to, I'm asking the board members first. And then if nobody has any comments or questions at this point, We'll ask New
75.
Volmar's representation.
Yes, good evening. I'm actually covering for Bobby Gonzalez. This is his client, but he's on spring break with his children. But nice to meet you, and Morty, I'm glad you're on the board, and
Thank you, Val.
it's a pleasure. I served on this board many, many years with Paul, a long time ago, Paul.
Welcome.
Wow, a long time ago. And I'm basically here to ask for a reduction. I just had a question. It looked like when you entered the order back in December 4th of 2024, my client had already applied for the permit at that point, just so you know, and paid the fee, which was pretty high. It was like a $3,280 fee because she had to pay. She had to actually pay more. According to my record, she paid for the permit on October 28th.
Is that because after the fact, and then don't they, I think, penalize you like 4 times?
Yes.
Yes.
So, I mean, she's paying high, but she's paying after the fact, right?
Yes.
So that $3,000 was the 4 times fee.
Okay,
That's what she paid for because she's doing work without a permit.
okay.
So, so you understand, it looks like within 5 days of her determining, I'm not sure on exact, it looks like you had a hearing on October 31st, 2024, where you imposed a $250 per day. But just so you know, she had applied for the permit according to the records 3 days before, on October 28th. That's what I have, but maybe it's wrong.
It says here that she quickly filed and paid the permit fee.
Yeah, and then it was issued to her November 4th. So really, the permit was issued about 4 days after your hearing that she did not attend. And I can explain to you why she didn't attend, but so then she got the permit, and then it took a little while for all the work to get done, but it was finally in compliance, as Eric told us, in December 18th. She did have a couple inspections in between. There was an in-progress inspection, and she went through all the inspections you were supposed to go through. So what I was asking is if you'd be generous as you were in the last case, perhaps, and set aside this fine. What I know of my client, talking to Bobby, is that she does have properties in the town, and she apparently fixes them up and sells them and makes money and makes the town better off because we have higher prices for our houses and a lot more tax money. But she indicated here that when she first found out from a neighbor, texted her, a person named Pam, who lives on Pine Tree, told her about the meeting, and she got on top of things right away. She did not realize that she was supposed to be at that October, maybe it was the November 4th meeting. I'm not sure which meeting.
So she was cited on October 11th.
Right.
She would have gotten a notice of code hearing somewhere between October 11th and the October 23rd code hearing.
Right. Yes, I don't know why she didn't appear, except that she said she had a problem with an address, but
If she purchased the property in February, the property appraiser's office didn't have her correct address.
no, I don't, I
That's
believe,
where we would get it from.
right. I'm not sure where it went, and that's really not, I'm not arguing no notice issue. That's not our issue today, honestly. It's just, we wanted you to know that on October 28th, once she finds out, she then goes and pays the quadruple fee for the permit. And just so you know, she had a contractor working on this beforehand, and she had thought that she hired him in July 8th, that they were taking care of it, because usually contractors do. I don't know what happened between her and the contractor.
So let me just interject for 1 second. As a builder, owner builder, it's my job to review all of the permits and everything else as well. So I feel like it does fall on her a little bit. But on the other side, she does bring a lot of value to this town. She brings a lot of people into this town that bring a lot of money into this town, tax money, that is. So the question is, I think the board can probably agree that, the pendulum kind of swings in what favor, in which favor. I know that she does conduct herself very well. As far as this exact case, I'm new to this board, but I mean, this was going on since, $12,000, a $12,000 fine for this. I think,
The $12,000 fine, it looks like started, I guess, commencing October 31 up until the date she got the final inspection passed. That's the way, right? Is that where the 12,000 comes from?
well,
So Paul, let me interrupt you really quick. So the reason she got we even knew about the windows, the contractor that was speaking about, something happened with him, money exchange, which has nothing to do with us, doesn't matter. Called it in and said, I did these windows with no permit. She wanted me to do it, but now I'm walking off the job. So that's how I knew about.
Okay, who, do you know who the contractor was?
it says right here. It says it, Miss King Luxury Glass LLC.
Was it an individual who called you?
Yes, Michael. He
Michael,
was the
okay.
contractor.
I don't know who Michael is.
So
I'm
that's
sorry.
that's the only thing we knew. That's why I sent somebody out there. You know, it wasn't because, we just went out there. She was doing work without a permit. So that's why she got the 4 times fee. And this is where it all snowballed from.
Okay.
And one thing, Mr. Rodriguez is Val, whatever, we know each other, so.
Yeah, sure.
This case is, and I see here, they want to take off the repeat offender or repeat violator. I think this person's well aware of how the town functions because they've lived here. They've done quite a few properties here. And it just seems like this is not a first time offense. It's been other repeat and we're going over and over. And it's more, if we get caught, we'll just pay the bill and that's part of the cost. If we don't, it's a bonus. And I think, is she not a real estate agent as well?
She is, but I didn't find any. I asked about repeat offender status. I couldn't find anything for a property she owned prior. I know you have another one on your agenda tonight.
Yeah, we're going to try real hard to just stick to this particular case
Okay.
and deal with it. And then we'll go to the next case.
I think one thing, at least I question, is company, whoever the company has owned or owns a lot of property in the town, has fixed up and done all this stuff. And honestly, I was a little surprised to see that she didn't get permits.
Right.
It's like doing business in our town. We appreciate what you're doing. It's not hard to go to Melissa to get a permit. And you have to do it. You just can't do things on your own without a permit.
I agree, Mr. Cook.
I'm not asking you to agree. I'm just saying.
Well,
That's the thing that.
I was hoping the contractor would have said, I'm not doing this job without a permit.
Is this
that's
an
the way-
owner builder permit or is this?
No, this was,
Whenever a company, an LLC owns a property, the owner builder cannot pull a permit.
Gotcha. Okay, so, I
Yeah.
mean,
Her experience should have been that she knew that she needed permits right from the get-go. Am I wrong about that?
You're right.
So-
Anybody disagree with that?
so the question then comes, what value does she bring to the town? She obviously brings a lot of value to the town.
Now
She
that you're
brings,
circumventing the system.
I don't disagree with you, 100%.
And why would one taint their reputation, especially if they're in that industry and they also sell houses? You're not protecting the people that are buying into these properties or renting to these properties. There's reasons why people have to get certified and get permits, workers and everything, because it's for the safety of the inhabitants.
1000%. I'm actually going through it myself. And I will say that this town is so incredibly easy to work with. 3 days to turn around a full building permit is incredible. So I don't understand why, a window permit would take, be that much of a feat to get. But I think she was relying on perhaps her contractor. So that's what I'm trying to question.
I think she has had, not necessarily under this name, but under other names, where she has been cited for code violation.
Like I said, I'm new to the board, but
And
I should probably abstain from this case because my brother-in-law is actually representing her, but
And I should take a second to remind all of us that if we have any personal information about any of these cases, you disclose that at the time.
I want to abstain or not vote or nothing. on this one. if That's okay.
You're going to have to.
Yeah, you
Well-
can't, unless you have a financial interest of some sort, you're required to vote.
No, I don't have any financial interest.
No financial interest.
So that's my point is,
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure that if she isn't, someone in her office is aware of the procedures that we have in Lake Clark Shores, because she's done so much.
I had a solution possibly that kind of makes sense, I think. If I'm reading this right, on October, you started finding her on October 31st, 2004. I would say give her a 4-day fine because she did pull the permit 4 days later. That's what you're trying to encourage. You're like, okay, you're going to be fined until you comply. I think compliance is pulling the permit, because if you're going to say compliance is pulling the permit and completing the project, then a person stuck with a $250 fine, it could be irrational based on contractor or supplies, waiting for, the building inspector to come out, or if there's a change of building inspectors like that. So I thought what seemed rational is, okay, look, on October 31st, we said $250 a day. You pulled the permit on November 4th, $1,000. That's 4 days, did not have the permit officially pulled, even though you paid the permit fee before. It wasn't issued until November 4th. Hyper-technically, 4 days, you were not in compliance. I think she was in compliance once the permit's pulled.
I think compliance is when you pull a permit and get a final inspection. Am I wrong there?
That's,
Yeah, no, that's.
you have to come into
that's really-
compliance
really
when you get your final.
Question, why couldn't the resident be present tonight?
She is in, I think, Argentina with a sick father.
Okay.
That's what Mr.
And
Gonzalez
if
told
I
me.
can add, Wes, if I'm not mistaken, when she got hit with a violation, she was already midstream through the project, correct?
Correct.
So it's really, I understand what you're saying, that she came in 4 days later and got the permit, but she already started it weeks before.
The windows.
So there
are
was,
already
there
in.
was no issue about having window supplies. There's no issue. The issue she had, honestly, I think is what I heard from Melissa, is her contractor and her had an issue, whatever that issue may be. He called and turned her into the town because he was also working without a permit. And then Eric went by and said, oh, she's working without a permit and she's doing this as well and this, or whatever the case may be. And then that caused the trickle down effect of having a violation. So I don't know that the 4 days works in that case, because she was already in violation the moment that Eric stepped foot on the property.
Right, but the order says that the $250 commences October 31st. So I don't think it would be fair to count anything before October 31st as a fine. I just see this
It was,
as,
though, is it?
wasn't.
No.
It's not.
no, but
started.
that's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is the fine starts on October 31st until she comes in compliance. The problem with, I think, coming into compliance means you pull the permit and pay for it, and you do it. I think it's a little tough to say you have to wait for a final, because then you could have residents, in this case, get a $12,000 fine because it took from November 4th to December 18th to get the final inspection
So what-
passed. The windows
so-
had already been installed for.
So for the time to submit your plans or submit your permit to the time that you get your windows, what, can we get a timeline on that? How long is
Well,
that? How long does that normally take?
But one thing is first, just because you pull a permit, you can't commence work until you have a permit.
Correct.
So how can you begin any job or?
That's
start
correct.
work?
Started beforehand.
She started beforehand. But that, it's a mute point. It's already late.
So it's possible that she knew she needed a permit, but she just didn't do it until she got caught.
Right.
Correct.
Is that a possibility?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would agree that's not what she was intending to do. She's pulled permits in other cases and she knows what she's doing. I don't know what happened between her and this person, Michael. I don't know who Michael is. I can't tell you who Michael is. Michael calls up and says, hey, she told me not to do a permit. For all we know, Michael could have said, I'm pulling the permit. And then when he got caught not pulling the permit, then he comes and says, it's her. They point fingers at each other. I don't think Michael he's a real contractor, should never put windows in without a permit. There's a duty on the contractor, whoever you are, Lake Clark Shores, whatever town you're working in, you need to pull a permit before you put windows in.
I can attest that, when relationships go bad, they go sour real quick. As per, how far they went, who knows? We're not involved in that case, but, the question I think that I would ask myself is, she's a resident, and then she also conducts herself with a lot of business in this town. She brings value to the town. I mean, how lenient does the board and the committee want to be towards her? I don't know if she's a repeat offender. I'm not gonna bring in any other case. You guys have the history. I'm new to this thing. I'm thinking as an empathetic resident. $12,000 is a lot of money, especially when you're trying to flip a property and bring in some new blood. So
But really, everybody that comes in front of us is a resident of the town.
So this is a reminder. We're either going to waive this fine or we're going to reduce it,
Or nothing at all.
or nothing at all.
uh,
So is there a motion? Would someone like to make a motion?
I'd like to reduce the fine.
Are you prepared to make a motion?
Yes, I'm prepared to make a motion to reduce the fine to $5,000.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay, hearing none, the motion fails. Is there anyone else that would like to make a motion?
Make a motion, which number is it?
Jerry, you're going to make a motion?
Yeah. Right. I guess that'd be number 9, lean in position.
Lean in
No.
position
No.
No, it's going to be
The fine.
to impose the
I'm looking for it,
fine reduction.
fine reduction, yeah,
Or no.
or not.
or not.
Okay. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 24-0343, I move that the board not reduce the fine and keep it as is, plus administrative costs. If the respondent fails to pay the fine, and I believe this is $12,000 within what's customary for our town to give somebody
Give her,
We've done 30 days.
yeah, give her.
30 days.
within 30 days of this order, a lien against the respondent's property shall be recorded in public records of Palm Beach County.
Is there a second? Okay, motion's been moved and seconded. Is there further discussion? Morty, would you like to comment?
No, I just think that
You support the motion? You don't support the motion?
I don't support the motion. Sorry.
Okay. Anyone else? Are you ready to vote? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Morty, you're
Oh,
opposed.
sorry.
Okay, so the motion carries.
I'm new to this.
I want to thank you all, by the way, for your time. I really appreciate your work up there. I did this for so many years and you have a lot of things to balance back and forth and, your volunteer work is appreciated, really it is. Paul, I can't believe you're still there.
Yeah, I can't either.
I can't believe, good for you. I mean,
Well, we certainly appreciate your service.
oh no, I know. It's almost 30 years with you.
Val's a
all.
champion.
But I'm just keep up the hard work. I mean,
Are you staying for the next case?
Yeah, don't go away.
yeah, hopefully the next case I don't have to stay for because I think it's being dismissed.
Oh,
I don't know about that.
no,
I don't-
no, the fine's been imposed, right?
We need to.
Are we talking about
No, it
046?
hasn't been
No.
imposed. Respondent came into, let's see. The total amount due is 16.5 in this case,
On,
plus
Did you use-
administrative costs.
That's
You wanna start the next case?
7423
Okay, we'll
Clark
start the
Road.
next-
Yes, we're gonna go to
but
250046.
that's correct.
You want to do your thing, Eric?
Same owner, Nuvmar LLC.
So for this
Who's
case,
not a repeat offender?
I've spoken with Bill, and the situation for this case is that the owner did contact the building department finally. Joe, the building official, did go out there, confirm that there wasn't a bathroom remodel that was done from what he could say.
There was not a
There was
bathroom
not.
remodel?
And the only thing that he saw is some slight cabinetry changing, which wouldn't require a permit. So based on this new evidence and the testimony of the building department and building official and speaking with council and speaking with Bill, it would be advised to dismiss this with full prejudice.
So Eric, what you're saying is the original violation was incorrect.
Yes, so the photos that were taken showing cabinetry, came from there. The toilet, when Joe went there, he couldn't tell if a toilet had been changed out. The owner had said that maybe someone had dumped some of the stuff on her property. Regardless of that, when Joe went into the property and inspected the bathroom, he deemed that there was not a bathroom remodel. So that's why I'm recommending a full dismissal for this case.
Did Joe look around the whole house?
He did. I mean, he didn't say,
The reason I say that is because I'm going to disclose that I go by that house just about every day, and I see what's out front that came out of the house.
so I guess, Mr. Hughes, we can't, according to,
That's
what
why,
the contractor said to the building officials, that Gigi took some of these, things, toilet and some other things from a different property that wasn't for that house.
and put them on this
And
property.
Put them in the town to be hauled away by our contractor.
That's what I was told. I don't know what house, I don't know.
Isn't that a violation of something?
Well,
It ought to be.
we can't prove it, so it,
Yeah.
you know,
I hear you.
it is what it is. I mean, it's there. We're assuming it came out of that house, but when Joe went in there, he couldn't prove it, so here we are. I mean, we
Make a
can't
motion.
find
Okay.
her for
Based
something.
on the testimony evidence in case number 25-0046, I move this board waives the fine of
Five.
$16,500. And administrative costs incurred, if any.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. You got that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Got
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Val.
One thing you might want to pass on, don't put on that property, it doesn't belong there.
Oh, I will be having a good conversation with her.
Yeah.
And explain your role and how you deliberated and listened. She wants to stay in the town and continue to remodel. She just needs to,
She needs to follow the law.
Yeah.
If she's making money off the town, then she should be able to pay for the town permits.
look,
It's just that simple.
preaching to the choir here. But thank you again, for your time. So I got good news and bad news to tell her. But that's my job.
Hi, thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks, Val.
Thank you. Okay.
President Hughes, we do have a resident here, even though their case is in compliance with no fine. Does the resident want to speak before the board?
Okay, so let me catch up. I think there's no cases on page 3. Is that correct?
So the resident who is here, case 25-0013, which is in compliance and did not accrue a fine, is here. And he's asking if the board has any questions for him.
Well, I wouldn't think we would if he's come into compliance appropriately, right?
Sir, do you have any questions you want for the board?
You have a particular, would you like to comment or? No? Okay.
What page is that on?
Page 3.
All right, so
Right in the middle.
is dismissed or closed, no fine.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips.
So there's no cases on 3 and no cases on 4.
No, we'll be starting on page 5.
Top of page 5, 25-0043. Roof has discoloration and requires cleaning. And it was January 31st, you noticed the property.
Do we have a picture?
Let me pull the case file, give me a second.
Mhm.
7831? Yes.
731.
7831.
And Eric, you normally give them about 30 days?
Yeah, I'll read everything off. This one just happened to be buried in the bottom of my file. So. All right, good evening. I am Code Enforcement Officer Eric Wagon, representing the town of Lake Clark Shores. This is case number 25-0043. Site property owner is identified as Avemi or Avemom Enterprise LLC. Site address 7831 Pine Tree Lane, Lake Clark Shores, Florida, 33406. A notice of violation was issued on 01/31/2025 under code section 34-19 sub 9 sub C. The roof has discoloration and needs to be cleaned. Yes, 30 days was given to come into compliance. I didn't hear anything from the residents, so on 3/11/2025, a notice of hearing was issued. Photos, a reinspection of the property was done today. The photos you see before you were taken today.
So that's actually about 6 weeks, right? Between January
This is a rental property.
January 31st and
What's the address? Is this a different address of the owner? So did we mail something to the owner just in case, like, we post something and the tenant just takes it down? But I'm just curious. I know we follow the property appraiser.
So on property appraisers, this is the address at the top, so 7831.
mailing address.
So it was posted to the property, it was mailed to the property. I will say the top of the roof, you can't really see it in this photo, but the top of the roof is clean. The issue is these three pillars right here. These ones still are dirty. If you need, there you go. As you can see, there is quite a bit of a buildup. That's the way the top of the roof looked. So they got about half of it. And if you see in this photo on the right top, you will see that they got the top of the roof done, but it's not in full compliance.
I wonder why you would do part of the roof and not all of it.
So I didn't speak to them, so I can't. The only thing that I can tell you is other residents with these kind of roofs in the past have used it's like a rain type wash where the more it rains, the more it cleans. I can't say what they've done because I haven't spoken to them.
So you haven't had communication with them?
No,
Okay. So it's still in violation.
it's still in violation as up to date.
Would someone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll do it. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 25-0043, I move that this board finds the respondent in violations of sections 34-19 of the town code ordinances. Respondents shall comply with the town code of ordinances on or before, what's our next meeting?
Yep.
April 23rd.
April 23rd of 2025. If the respondents fail to comply with this order in a timely fashion, a fine in the amount not to exceed $25 per day may be imposed. A fine assessment hearing will be held on, is it April 23rd of 2025, if necessary.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Okay. I just have a question. You said you noticed them on January 31st.
That's correct.
And then on March 11th, you gave them a notice of hearing.
That's correct.
So that's about, what, 5 or 6 weeks
Give or take. Yeah.
from
So they
the
got
original notice?
Well, they got the largest percentage of the roof done, which is the top. Again, I've spoken to them, so I can only speculate that maybe they're using chemicals like I'm telling you, maybe they just got half of it done. I don't know.
So the motion wants to give them another 30 days.
Can you go back
Just
to
my
the
comment.
photos one more time?
Yes.
What was it? April what?
April 23rd.
25th, I think.
23rd,
23rd?
our next meeting.
They need to fix them too.
Might be there, but it's hard to read.
Or maybe.
I'm just wondering if there's no number, you spoke to, you haven't spoke to
No.
anybody.
No, I haven't. This is also the first violations of properties that have gotten from me.
And this is a rental?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think Eric, did you say the section was 3419C?
Hold on
19.9, see, I think you said.
one second. Yeah, it should be 34-19 sub 9 sub C, which is the roof.
Mhm.
Of 9.
Yes, correct.
Melissa, if it's a rental, it's got a license for being a rental?
Yes.
Yes.
They've been a rental for a very long time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, they have.
They're very busy. I drive by them every day.
My only question would be, why would we want to give them another 30 days if they've already had 5 weeks?
Is there any way to
Start it
have
now.
the property owners acknowledge?
Well, that's what I was just discussing with Melissa, because they are a registered rental. If I can get a contact number for them, maybe I can try reaching out to them. Possible that when a violation is posted, maybe
I'll amend it for a week.
someone there, whether it, however, maybe just saw it was a flyer or something.
Do we not require, like contact information for rental properties?
We do, but sometimes the number changes or it's disconnected or whatever.
Very
They did
responsible.
renew their business tax receipt though, right?
They did.
So they're getting our mail.
Somehow.
Well, Unibeth? Am I saying that correctly? I'm sorry if I'm not.
Yulibeth.
Unibeth.
Yulibeth.
Unibeth.
Yulibeth.
Unibeth.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to take a class. So sorry, my dear. I would like to amend my motion for them to be in comply with the town code of honor before, and I would say 2 weeks from today's date. So let's see here, that would be
The 9th, April 9th.
April 9th of 2025.
Yeah.
And then I guess,
Does anybody have any objection with that?
No.
No.
since we've already given them, I mean, they've had plenty of time. So-
Further discussion? You ready to vote?
Yes, sir.
April 9th, correct?
Correct.
All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay. 0047, Forest Hill Partners.
Good evening. I'm Code Enforcement Officer Eric Richwagon, representing the town of Lake Clark Shores, case number 25-0047. Site property owners identified as 1825 FH Partners LLC. Site properties identified as 1825 Forest Hill Boulevard, Lake Clark Shores, Florida, 33406. On 02/07/2025, a notice of violation was issued for section 121-86C. The trees in the parking lot need to be trimmed to 13.88 feet. I did speak with the owner because I do have the property owner's information. They were reaching out to several contractors at that time for bidding. It's still been going on. So on 03/11/2025, a notice of hearing was issued. Reinspection of today's date finds that the violations still exist. I've taken several photos. As you can see, it's a lot of trees. When I spoke to the owner, some of the bids coming in were anywhere from 15 to 35,000. I can only assume that they're maybe in more due to the commercial property. The property owner was asking for more time to come into compliance. There's only one tree that poses a real issue, which is the one over Florida Mango.
When you say height, you're talking about so vehicles can clear under.
Yeah, so the only thing we have for trees in town is you can grow your tree as tall as you want, but it can't hang lower than 13.8 feet. And I do have a measuring tool that was made for me by the Public Works Department. So I go right out there, and if it touches it all, it's a violation. Because there was a resident that also complained about not the trees in the parking lot, but this particular tree. So based on the complaint, I also have to address that one.
Eric, we have multiple tree removal people or arborists in town here.
Mhm.
Why can't we provide a local,
Yeah, the town can't get involved. If someone wants to call the town and ask for a list of things that work, but the town can't provide anyone with any information because then it looks at as if you're showing paper
liability? Yeah.
one building. Yeah, you have to be. I understand, but as a town, you have to be control.
Understood.
Yeah.
I do know that there's multiple landscapers in this town that would take care of this for a lot less than $35,000.
And it sounds like they.
I'll do it myself.
Take care of one.
No, they need to take care of all the ones in the parking lot too. None of those need the height clearance.
Okay.
So if you were to get a vehicle that goes in there, this one right here by the school, I've seen buses have to go around it. That's Forest Hill, very soon on the side. You get not so understanding people that make that turn and go down this road very fast, which is right next to a school and a playground. So.
Has there been any other violations at this property in the past?
They were cited before for the trees and they came into compliance and they never made it before the board because they were able to handle it last time.
Okay, so they're not in,
No, they're just requesting one time. If the board wants.
so would someone like to make a motion?
How much time are they requesting?
An additional 30 days.
It's not bad. I would have given him 60.
Would someone like to make a motion?
So
I will.
Okay,
Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 2500-0047, I move that the respondents be found to have failed to comply with the order finding violation dated
No,
February. No,
Think-
that's not the right
Number
one.
one.
number one.
Oh, no.
If you're doing that, yeah.
Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 25-0047, I move that this board finds the respondents in violation of section 121-6 sub C of the Town Code of Ordinances. Respondent shall comply with the town's Code of Ordinances on or before April 23rd, 2025. If respondents fail to comply with this order in a timely fashion, a fine in the amount of, what is tree?
Would this be considered overgrown vegetation?
probably.
No, this is free canopy.
Well,
Where-
similar,
I guess I'm looking on the,
similar,
In the amount of
It's
$50
not
a
on
day?
yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
$50 a day per day may be imposed. A fine assessment hearing will be held on April 23rd, 2025, if necessary.
I think it has to be the next month because we gave them until the 25th, correct?
No, 23rd.
23rd, sorry. I have-
I'll second.
So the motion is to give them till April 23rd to come in compliance or a fine of $50 a day. Maybe, is
Correct.
that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Pat. Further discuss, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Jerry seconds. Is there further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Eric, I guess the next case is 0061.
That's correct.
And I have a question about the 0051.
Yes.
Are there not still stumps in the backyard?
No, there's cut up pieces of concrete that are back that they're using. They're gonna be cutting the wood. I spoke to the owner. He removed the 3 stumps. There was a big stump, probably about 3.5 feet tall or whatever. He ground that. There was another 2. He was a little hesitant about wanting to cut, but he still did it. So they came in compliance for the 3 stumps.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with what you just said, but I do go by that house,
Mhm.
by the canal, almost every day. And it looks like there's still stumps there to me. So all I'm going to do is ask that you go by and recheck if you would.
There's tree pilings on the left-hand side.
No,
And a little bit toward the, not quite the middle right, but still a little bit toward the middle left. I do see that. They said that they're using that. I just told them that they're going to use it. They'll turn it into storage.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you, since I go by there, I'm going to look again. I'll get back in touch with you. Okay. Uh-huh.
So it's a violation if you have a stump in your backyard?
Yeah, if you get your trees cut down, you do have to remove the entire stump.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like if you have a dead palm tree, the palm tree has to come down as well.
It's due to termites.
Yeah, and obviously if nobody can see them, then I guess you're okay. But if people can see them,
I never heard of that before.
yeah,
Who knew?
Yeah.
Termites.
termites. Okay, 0061, exclusive Barbara. This is a
For business tax receipt.
Business tax without a business tax receipt.
Didn't the same thing happen last year with you? Oh, I guess maybe one of the
Sounds
barbers.
familiar.
The name sounds familiar, maybe.
How much is a business tax receipt?
For them, it was what, 70?
Yeah, so 25 days, one.
$76?
It looks like a month.
Go ahead, Eric.
Say, case 25-0061, the BTR notice was sent to the property owners. They distributed it to Exclusive Barber. We did not hear, I didn't hear anything from them. So as of this date, they're sort of delinquent and still in violation.
So the notice was January 14th. Is that correct?
Yes, all of them.
Yeah, and we, you haven't heard anything from them?
No, so what I did last year was I compiled a list of all of the commercial property owners, because at the end of the day, even though it's an individual's fault, it falls on the property owners to make sure all the people that are occupying your commercial spaces are up to date. So once I did that last year, we had a lot more businesses come into compliance or leave. So doing it this year also helped out, and it keeps the property owners, aware of who is in violation, who isn't. So yeah, as of today, I haven't heard anything from Exclusive Barbers. Nope, Melissa hasn't heard anything from them either.
I've reached out to everybody and tried to give them a courtesy call. And some came into compliance and some people didn't.
So this particular property has two individuals that, for tax receipts, and they haven't, and the owner hasn't come into compliance for them.
If you want to hear both cases together, that way you can make the.
Yeah, if there's any further discussion, but we'll vote on them separately. Okay. Pretty simple, I think, here. They're not in compliance and
No, 25-061 and 0062, because it's the same occupied space, they're both still delinquent.
So does anybody know for the guideline, it just says per Florida statute. So do we know what that is to impose a fine since
There's-
it's still delinquent?
Number 10. And I guess I can do that.
we have
I
that
got a
on
question for
our
Melissa.
list.
Yes.
Question on here in the bottom, it says like October, November, December, January. What does that mean? And are these yearly? These should be yearly, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a 5% penalty for each month that is late.
That's what that is.
That's what that is, and it's up to 25% max.
Okay.
So you're limited here. You can't do a daily fine. You have to do that's the statutory portion of it.
Here it says max penalty $250. Is that total, or we can, I guess, amount of business tax of, and what is the business tax?
You would have, and correct me if I'm wrong here, you would have the business tax plus 25% plus up to 250.
That's correct. So it's whatever fine that you see right here, they would have to pay that and then the 250. So that total is already included with the penalty amount.
So on this delinquent notice, when you see the bus tax amount, penalty amount, that $13.23, is that the 25%?
Correct. That should be the total, the highest that'll go up to.
So for this particular one that we're talking about, it says for October 1st, 7607. So that would be the 6615 plus the penalty of 992. So the business tax is 6615, not the penalty. The penalty is only 992.
Correct.
So each month, this business is paying 7607 for their business license, or their business.
No, it's 7607 total.
It's an annual.
So they're only paying 7607 for the whole year for a business tax license.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, okay. I thought it was-
Including the 25%.
Right, I thought, okay.
No, I know which one.
That's incredibly affordable.
I know.
Yep, but you know what? It's better than last year.
We're the cheapest around.
All right, I'll go ahead. Based on the testimony evidence presented in case number 25-0061. I move that this board finds the responding violation of sections 54-20 of the town codes. I move that order be entered requiring respondents to pay the amount of the business tax of $76.07 plus delinquency penalty of 25%, or wait a minute, or $250. Should I do $250?
Well, the 76, although as I'm looking at the math, the 992 is not 25% of,
No, it didn't look like it was.
you know,
I think you need to check your formulas because I don't think they're calculating correctly.
So here's the problem with this thing. I have to do it manually all the time because this is the old system. We're transitioning into MGO. So
but
I don't have to do delinquency 25, what I can do flat, $250.
well, no, you would do the business tax of 6615
Plus the 25%.
plus 25%, which I get at 1654. And then plus 250.
Plus the administrative fee.
100, because it gives me 20, I can do the delinquency penalty of 25% or $250. I do $250 instead.
No, you can do both.
I can do both?
Yes.
Plus the administrative fee of $100.
Okay. Because it has or here,
So 6615,
right there.
6654,
Right, 25%
250.
plus,
100.
Administrative.
plus the administrative fee, plus penalty.
What does that come out to? Is that $250?
No, $250 is just.
The max penalty fee.
Whatever the max penalty is.
Max penalty is $250. I mean, the fact that we waited 4 months for them to come clean, I mean,
So 25% plus the administrative fee, plus.
There we go. I didn't get that far. All right. There we go.
$250 for a mercantile license is pretty cheap.
What was the administrative fee? $100?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start over again.
Yep.
All right. Based on the testimony evidence presented in case number 25-0061, I move that this board finds the respondent in violation of sections 54-20 of the town code. I move that an order be entered requiring respondents to pay the amount of the business tax of $66.15 plus the delinquency penalty of 25%, plus an administrative fee of $100, plus an additional penalty of $250. If the respondent is not in compliance with this order by, and that's
The 23rd.
April 23rd of 2025, a lien will be recorded in the public records of Palm Beach County.
Motion?
Further discussion?
I second the motion.
Pat, seconded. Yuli Beth,
yeah, we can.
Patricia, seconded. Okay.
Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Came to 432.69.
Pardon me?
Came to 432.69.
432.69?
Yeah, that's what it totals out, she's saying.
But
That's what the total is.
the conflict here is that it says max penalty is $250.
That's in the,
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out here on it. It used to say administrative, but I'm not seeing that in the statute now.
So, I mean, it's right up there in this line here, max penalty $250.
Well, additional.
Well, the 250, but the town hasn't been charging 100, have you in the past?
You're looking at,
So it's the amount plus the 25% penalty plus the 250. That's
okay.
what it should be.
That's
Um,
the hardest.
See it again?
no, I mean, is there any objection to
Took me like 5 or 6.
Can you repeat that?
removing the $100?
No. If that's what our attorney recommended.
Okay, so we're looking at the business tax, the 25% and 250.
So no administrative.
You have to go back.
No administrative.
No
No,
administrative.
no
No
administrative.
administrative?
So it's 332.69.
Would you not agree, Bill? Yeah. Update number 10. That's what we need to do for the next one.
Further discussion?
I'm sorry, so just confirming the business license amount plus the 25% penalty plus the,
1654
mm-hmm.
and 250.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
332.69.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. I think we need to put in the minutes that Morty was not present for the vote.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right, go for the second one.
Yes, let's go for 25-0062.
Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 25-0062, I move that this board find the respondents in violation of sections 54-20 of the town code. I move that an order be entered requiring respondents to pay the amount of the business tax, and I believe it's the same, $66.15, plus a delinquency penalty of 25%, plus an additional penalty of $250. If the response is not in compliance with this order by April 23rd of 2025, a lien will be recorded in the public records of Palm Beach County.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, let's see. So 25-0064 is correct.
The business tax dispute.
Can't hear you.
Okay. So for case 25-0064, the GPR hearing notice was dropped off with the property in there. I've heard nothing from this business or the building department, so they're still fine.
So, okay.
Where's this business?
On the third page, guys. Top.
Yeah,
Okay.
Cobb Continuum.
It's the same amount.
Third page. Third page at the top.
Yep, same thing, right?
Yes, same.
I got this, no problem. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 25-0064, I move that this board finds the respondent in violation of sections 54-20 of the town code. I move that the order be entered requiring respondents to pay the amount of the business tax of $66.15, plus a delinquency penalty of 25%, plus an additional penalty of $250. If the respondent is not in compliance with this order by April 23rd, 2025, a lien will be recorded in the public records of Palm Beach County.
Okay. Further discussion? What page is that on?
Third page at the top.
Yeah, third one. This one? The delinquent notice? Or you're talking page 6?
We,
Oh, I'm sorry. I was-
Statements.
6 on the agenda.
Yes.
okay. Further discussion? This is New Health Chiropractic, is that correct?
No.
We're in.
Oh, we're on Cobb.
Oh, right.
Okay, and we had a motion and a second.
Wesley, second.
All those in favor of the motion say,
Who's second?
Wesley.
Yes, thank you.
all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now, 25-0065, New Health Chiropractic.
Um,
You want to do that one, Wesley? You want me to do it? You guys want me to do this?
Go, Jerry.
You're so fluent.
All right,
Here, do we want to hear from Eric first or?
Yes, we do.
go ahead.
just, on record, so for case 25-0065, 25-0066, is there the same business? The business tax receipt notices were delivered. They still have not been in compliance. As I spoke with one of the owners who was rather nasty and mean with me. But most of them, not any of them, so we're all still in violation.
Eric, did they give any reason why they hadn't done it or unable to do it?
Whatever I just spoke to, I can't use what she said.
Yeah, don't use it, but go ahead.
Just, it's none of our business.
Oh, okay.
That's the word I can say.
They understood that there was a business tax?
This is the same property that we dealt with for over a year with the parking lot at
Yeah.
number 7. Just to refresh my memory.
Oh, so you mean to tell me that 100 and, that the business, the mercantile license is too expensive for them? Is that what their problem is?
No,
Can't even tell you.
that's okay.
I have a question on both this one and the previous one that we just did.
Mhm.
It's the same business, but two different owners. Why are we penalizing them twice?
Because each person inside the business is required to have a
Oh, each one.
Like
Oh,
Like each professional that's in the office.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, I thought it was just one business.
No, that's a question.
Okay, so let's vote on 250065. Someone like to make a motion?
Jerry?
I thought Jerry was.
I'll do it. All right, based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 25-0065, I move that the board find the respondent in violation of section 54-20 of the town code. I move that an order be entered and requiring the response to pay the amount of the business tax. And if I'm correct, with
88.
new health,
88.
there it is, $88.20, plus a delinquency penalty of 25%, plus an additional penalty of $250. If the respondent is not in compliance with this order by April 23rd of 2025, a lien will be recorded in the public records of Palm Beach County.
Second.
Further discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay. 250066.
Can I just make a note? Can I make a note, comment on that? If they hate doing business with us so much, why are they here? I mean, I mean, for less than $100, they're doing business with us every year. And they're fighting with our,
Well, that was for other things. So unfortunately, I don't know, they paid this tax before. This is not new. I'm assuming they paid before unless they're a brand new company.
Eric, what was the interaction with the business owner?
There's 3 of them. 2 of them were very reasonable. They had no communication. The third one was very vocally aggressive and verbally.
Abusive.
I would hate to be her
Can
patient.
we squeeze, to get them current, can we squeeze the fee out of the other partners to get them current so we're not deliberating on this again?
Well, that's.
I'm just trying to come to some sort of conclusion without putting you in a perspective that you don't want to be in.
Oh, it's fine. I was bothered.
Yeah, that's not really our responsibility here. We just to determine whether in violation or not, unless there's any exceptional reasons. I suggest we make a motion on this and did we vote on it?
Yes, we did.
And then we had a second.
That was just an additional comment.
Right. Further discussion.
None.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right.
Go ahead, Eric.
Okay.
Okay, so 250068, is that correct? 666.
Yeah, they.
Oh, I thought we,
Nice try.
okay. Okay,
Same- It's the same amount.
okay. 66.
Page
That's what we,
25-066.
We have a lot of wellness centers.
The, I think the business tax receipt was sent out. No further communication. They're still delinquent as of today's date.
would someone like to make a motion?
Sure. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 25-0066, I move that this board find the response in violation of section 54-20 of the town code. I move that an order be entered requiring response to pay the amount of the business tax of $88.20 plus a delinquency penalty of 25% plus an additional penalty of $250 if the response is not in compliance with this order by April 23rd of 2025. A lien will be recorded in the public records of Palm Beach County.
Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Now, 25-0068,
Correct. Case 25-0068.
business receipt.
DPR notice was sent out to the property owner. No further communication. They are still in violation as of today's date.
No communication.
No communication.
Okay. This is,
So again,
yeah,
based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 25-0068, I move that this board find the respondent in violation of sections 54-20 of the town code. I move that an order be entered requiring respondents to pay the amount of the business tax or business tax of, and I have here $66.15 plus a delinquency penalty of 25% plus an additional penalty of $250 if the respondent is not in compliance with this order by April 23rd of 2025. A lien will be recorded in the public records of Palm Beach County.
Second.
further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And 25-0070.
Case 25-0070. Nermeen Hannah, this business tax receipt was posted to the property. The owner does have a little bit of history with communicating with town employees. When she saw the notice, she basically just ripped it up, and that's about it. So it's still
So you know what kind of business it is? Or just,
I think she's a legal advisor or something of that nature.
Interesting.
We've had code issues in the past between neighbors, and this particular not a fan of enforcement.
not your most favorite person?
I know there's one.
No, I meant you're not your most favorite person.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
But we don't want to show any bias, so Jerry, would you like to make a motion?
Sure. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 25-0070, I move that this board find the respondents in violation of section 54-20 of the town code. I move that an order be entered requiring respondents to pay the amount of the business tax of, I have here, $88.20 plus a delinquency penalty of 25% plus an additional penalty of $250 if the respondent is not in compliance with this order by April 23rd of 2025. A lien will be recorded in the public records of Palm Beach County.
Second.
Further discussion? Are you ready to make a motion or ready to vote?
Yes, sir.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. We're going to move on here to the board comments, suggestions, case. Anybody have anything?
I would just suggest that we take a look at the suggested motion here under delinquent business tax, where it says max penalty 250, whether that really belongs there. I don't necessarily agree, and confirm whether we can or cannot charge the administrative fee.
Yeah, I can check that.
It's a conflict based on the verbiage.
Well, and that's why we didn't charge it tonight.
Correct.
I'd like to have this little script that we follow verified and corrected.
Good call.
I think it's a
I
good
know,
idea.
I know in other neighboring communities, we charge both. The 25%, the 250, and our administrative cost is 250, I think. So,
Of course.
Can we just add what we've been saying, that they pay the business, and take out max penalty of 250 and add in
right.
business tax penalty, admin fee plus a 250 penalty? Can we add that verbiage in and take this out?
I think I need to look at the statute and see what's permissible. It is all statutory, and I'll get back to you on that, and we'll
Question.
revise the motion if need be.
Thank you.
What does a mercantile license or business license cost in West Palm Beach?
It depends on the business, I think, too. As you can see, there's different,
communities have different fee schedules and how they're calculated. Some communities charge based on the valuation of their inventory. Others, where I am, it's based on the size of the space. So from 1 to 400 square feet, it might be $500. From 401 to 2,000 square feet, it might be $800, something like that.
And this is just in commercial space.
well, it can be a home.
It could be a home-based business as well. We can do home-based businesses at home.
And that,
Architects.
Only certain businesses are permitted in a residential
gotcha.
zoning district.
I just feel like our fees for a mercantile license or a business license are pretty light.
So our fees haven't been upped in a long time.
I think we should probably look into that.
I think your opportunity to increase them may go away, so.
Correct.
Yeah, and they may be capped already, I think.
I come from New York, so I mean, $100 or $76 or $60-something for a business license is not very
If you
profitable
look
for
at
us.
our neighboring, even maybe
And the fact that we're here deliberating about delinquency on these minor little fees, I mean, is really ridiculous.
So what did we just
We're all
say?
working for pennies up here.
Someone's gonna look into whether
I'm
whether
gonna
we
see what I need to do.
Well, it would be up to the town council to, it's
Okay.
by ordinance, so they would have to increase them if they want.
State statute used to allow you to do them every 2 years by up to 5%.
We haven't done it for years.
So can we make a recommendation to the town's administration to look at business tax receipts and consider updating them?
Yeah, I will bring it up to, Mary, I'll bring it up. to
And
Leo.
Joe.
Joe.
I might just give.
Great. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Penalty, but that's not our council, that's state statute.
State statutes, penalty.
The only thing the town can do is based on state statute, increase if they're allowed to, or decrease if they're allowed to.
My goal will just
Does anybody
encourage people to pay on time. That's
have anything else? I have something, but does anybody else? I would just like to ask you all if, take notice of the condition of our asphalt driveways in this town. There are so many that are really in bad shape, in my opinion, my personal opinion. I think it's pretty hard to actually keep an asphalt driveway looking decent.
One of the hardest driveways in the game.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they have cracks and they have holes and then people patch them and they still look terrible.
That's the thing. We live in Florida and the sun just destroys it. You have to get it resealed at best every 5 years, every 3.
And I'm not sure that our code is clear on what's I'm just gonna say a decent looking asphalt driveway and what is not. But some of them are really in bad shape.
Asphalt driveways are a lot cheaper to pave, if I'm not mistaken. So.
You mean repair,
I mean.
surface?
Resurface,
Oh,
whatever. They're not very expensive to do. I mean, I just did a full circular driveway on one of my other properties for, into the 20s of thousands of dollars. And, my neighbor did his whole driveway for $3,500. So it's not, to resurface your whole driveway is that expensive. Mind you, I think a lot of people are questioning what's going on with our septic to sewer system conversion, which I think is on a lot of residents' minds, and especially mine. And I think that if you're gonna have to rip up your driveway to connect to this sewer system at some point, why would you repair it? So I think that if we all encourage our fellow neighbors to show up to some of these meetings once in a while, I think that maybe we cannot kick the can down the road any further and actually encourage people to upkeep their driveways that they might have to tear up after spending thousands of dollars on maintaining. So that's my 2 cents on that. And I do agree with you. There are some driveways that are in disrepair. it doesn't cost them much to, keep them looking half decent. Asphalt's pretty cheap, especially if you can get a one truck and you do like a bulk kind of pickup or a bulk, you get a couple neighbors to chip in. It's very economical. So maybe that's something that we can look into.
Eric's the one that drives around. I mean, is that something you're doing, Eric? I think we have a lot of residents too. They're elderly, unfortunately.
I agree.
Regardless of what needs to be done to upkeep their houses and what's been going, I think all of us economically in these past few years, it's just ridiculous what prices are nowadays.
I mean, I've cited quite a few driveways. You can ride down and go see all the research driveways and it's almost entirely because they've been cited from Venetian, Montreat, to Westlake, to Alpha, to Beta, to the side. There's a couple that are recently just cited and they got it completely. 1901 Gregory, he repaired sections. He did inform that he's going to be re-blacktopping it. He's just waiting for the material. So that one should start looking much better. I did explain that driveway was falling in disrepair. And so the patchwork helps, but there's a lot of roads too, they do the patchwork, but it's really the resealing and re-blacktop. And I try to tell the residents they can that they can buy the blacktop themselves in like Home Depot or Lowe's. It's a cheaper route. It comes in bags and they can lay it. It's not a permanent solution, but it does repair.
I'm pretty sure.
I was going to ask you if maybe you do a research with some other towns and see if there's any codes that are different.
Yeah, well, most towns and cities, when it comes to driveways, it has detailed sections.
Yeah, maybe we could.
If you want to look at pretty detailed codes in a city of Alderton, where you work, the codes are very detailed. Their meaning code is very updated.
Maybe you could share that with us.
Well, you can go right on Google and just type in city of Alderton meaning codes and go through it. It's very detailed.
Do you feel that we should have asphalt period? I don't know.
A lot of communities don't.
Right.
I mean,
There's
that's,
a lot of communities that restrict what type, they don't want asphalt, they don't want feed rock, or type of, it just depends on the code, what's in the code.
one thing I noticed the other day was on Gregory, you walk it or whatever, but I don't know, there was just a house. It just felt like you can see from the canal, it just felt like their whole
That's
garage, their whole,
backyard.
yeah.
That's one of the cases that was here with the stops.
Yeah, they cut down all the bushes, all the hedges and the trees and now it's exposed.
It
Why
looks
did they do
terrible.
that?
I mean,
They told me the bushes and everything in the back were very overgrown, invasive type of species, bug problems, so they cut it down to mitigate all the issues.
so how does that look? I guess you're walking that street, you're driving that street. I don't know, you go on the boat. I know it's a person's backyard, but to me, we're in a lake, but both front and backyard are exposed. So another person, I think certain aesthetics. Now, everyone has different opinions on this, but I was kind of shocked. I've never seen that. Now it stands out pretty.
There's an A-frame, I don't know what you call it, in the backyard, right up against the fence. Whether it's
Like a storage shed or
no, maybe a garden for flowers. Yeah, a greenhouse. I don't know if that's ever been permitted.
Melissa, do you guys have tree removal permits here in the town?
We do.
What have they have for what they did?
Did they remove trees or just bushes?
Bushes, and we don't know if they removed the tree from the stump because it was all the block before. And they do have, some of the big pieces that were cut up, so that it can be, maybe one of them was cut by it. They remove the shrubbery, and it's hard to tell how many trees were removed, what size of them.
Code that this is some diameter permit for.
Yes.
Can I get back to the driveways real quick? Sorry. but I'm pretty sure that everybody in this town who owns a property has realized property gains of 25+% in real estate gains in the last 2 to 3 years. I think we can all agree on that, if not more. What is the minor detail of upkeep for a driveway or for a lawn or for pressure washing a roof? Like, these are minor details. We don't have an HOA. They're saving X amount of money on HOA fees in some other community when we were just deliberating about minor details that cost hundreds of dollars to maintain, on a 5-year period. Like, we're not asking for a lot. Am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy.
So, I mean, I'm
I
just,
don't think.
I mean, like, we all love to drive around and enjoy each other's, lawns and property. And, I thoroughly enjoy my drive around town. I take my time and stop every stop sign and, 20 miles an hour.
I actually walk it and everything else, but
It's
I will tell
enjoyable.
you, there's a lot of driveways that are asphalt that are in atrocious condition.
Especially on Pine Tree. I agree with you.
And unfortunately, and I don't know, that's something with the town. And again, I'm sensitive because some of these folks are very elderly. So I imagine it might be a budget issue. I'm not, but it needs to be maintained. And even though we don't have an HOA, one of the reasons I enjoyed coming or lived in this town was knowing that we had enforcement of code and it was handled by the police department. It had teeth. And the town has a minimum standards. We have a great reputation in this county. It's kind of like a hidden gem. I like to maintain it. I know people are like, oh, that's not the way we are. We're a voting community, this and that. Things start going away. Things that are happening and what we've been maintaining here is the reason why people want to move to Lake Clark Shores. I don't think we're harsh at all.
I've been identifying a lot of fancy cars coming and going, and I think we can really look the part.
My only contention, and it doesn't apply to me because I have a paver driveway, is I'm embarrassed that we're voting and we're giving violations out for driveways when our roads are atrocious. I live on Keller and it really I was going to ask, how do we, like, who makes the decision to pave 100 feet? Like I see some of the roadways that are just paved this much. Why like
Such a valid point.
who makes that?
This goes back to the septic to sewer.
Violation,
No, but this goes back to the septic to sewer because the town is not going to spend more money repairing a 10 by 10 track in a road when they're going to just tear it up eventually. Like I said, I think if we literally polled our neighbors here for the council meetings and let's get a consensus on the septic to sewer, I think that maybe we'll get some of the septic to sewer vote, because right now we're not doing it. We're just spending our own money on fixing cracks in a road that we triple. Like literally, utility personnel fixed a hole on the corner of Beta North and Pine Tree the other day, and it's still disgusting. I mean, I tripped over it the other day. I cannot take my daughter in the stroller with a cup of coffee without half of my cup of coffee going over there. So I think it's our duty as residents and people on this board to literally bring people here. I think people want to come here. I just think they don't think it's important because they don't want to be hurt or they're not being hurt.
But we're only here as code enforcement. What you're suggesting would be them to go to the town council. That's where it needs to be.
Correct.
That's where it needs to be.
Correct. But I'm just saying, like, we're talking about streets and driveways.
Yes.
I agree with her about the driveways.
The streets we have no power over.
Correct. But how can we enforce this right? How can we enforce the driveways when the streets look like crap?
Well, because the driveways are covered under our codes. And the streets
Private
are,
property.
Yeah,
and the
well,
streets are
maybe
not.
we should be holding our council, their feet to the fire as well, to figure out what's going on with our septic sewer.
Our neighbors and our driveways and our houses.
I agree.
Listen, that one thing about town council, been, on this short time I've lived here, 7+ years or whatever, the key there is they're working on getting grant money. They're trying to get stuff. So it's not something, I think eventually we're not going to have a choice because probably the government will get involved and tell us what to do. That's what this town is trying to avoid and to be proactive. But bottom line is we have codes, right? That's what we handle. That's what we're responsible for. And right now, the driveway, which rightly brought up, asphalt is a serious bone of contention. And I just personally think the town council should think about, because like you said, it needs to be taken care of on a constant basis, or to maintain, be aesthetically pleasing, whatever. But it needs, and most people, they don't. They wait till it's like the point of this disrepair, and maybe our town council should think about maybe not have asphalt as from future permits or future, you know what I'm trying to say? That's just a suggestion. Because unfortunately, people just let it go to disrepair.
I just want to thank everybody here. This is my first meeting. I just want to thank, this is amazing. To have a panel like this and then you know, representatives from the town, and you know, this is great that we can have this panel. So
We're glad you're here. Hey, Eric, what did, in Lauderhill, what did you call the specification? What did you?
Yeah, community code, all jurisdictions use community code, MUNICOD.
It's a repository for every community. You can access the codes from anywhere in Florida or anywhere in the country.
You can look up Palm Beach County Unicode.
Yeah, but you said they were, just more strict in other towns. Is that what you?
Everything's detailed.
Yeah, so every municipality has its own version of the code, and they enhance it, I guess, or whatever, to whatever
Right.
specification they want.
It's the result of all of your ordinances and resolutions, and they all get adopted into the code.
I would like to suggest that we look into something a little better for asphalt driveways, if you all agree. I'm not exactly sure how we go about getting that done, but that's our
I will
recommendation.
ask
Again,
tomorrow, okay?
Wasn't it brought up a while ago that somebody was going to look into all the codes? Like,
Oh,
didn't
well,
we have a committee
they
that
were
was supposed to look into?
they were updated
Oh, they were.
last year and the year before.
That was the
Well,
trailers.
That was for the trailers.
Yeah, certain things have only been updated.
When we
We
got
probably
we
need
got a
to
new
look at
book.
all.
We got a green book. So,
That's it. That's all this
It's
change.
color. Excellent.
all right. Any further discussion? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I second it.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Enjoy spring break and Easter and Passover.
Yes.
Adjourned too late.